This is hands down one of my favorite Superz, and if you love Leighton, you have to check this out. So let's review Superz Budapest 1723. Yo, what's good guys? Hunter here and welcome back to the channel where I upload weekly fragrance content, so you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any future videos like this. And be sure to check me out over on my Instagram for some more personal content and behind the scenes content as well. But today, in my hands is by far one of my favorite fragrances from Superz, which I actually think is extremely underrated. Because of course, when you think about this house, you probably think of like Morocco, Memories Gold, Soho, or even Hamzat Smash. But dang guys, this needs more love. And if you checked my ranking video of all 16 Superz I own, you would know this did place in the top 5. And if you're somebody that loves Leighton, you're gonna love this because it's in the same realm. But guys, even if you didn't like Leighton, you might actually prefer this because it's much smoother and doesn't really have that Vicks vapor rub you find in Leighton. I also do want to shout out Superz for sending this over for review. Of course, I'm still gonna keep it completely honest with you guys, but as you already know, I hooked you guys up with a discount code on their website. You can use code, and these are already pretty affordable as it is, guys. And with my discount code, it's going to even make it more affordable, and their shipping is extremely fast. So let's go with some information now. 1723, I believe, was launched in 2022, so it has been around for a couple of years now at the time of this recording, which still surprises me because, like I said, this is so under the radar. For the retail price, only size these come in, which is the 50 ml, is going to run you $120. But if you use my code, that will drop it down to probably around, for the retail price, only size all these come in, which is the 50 ml, is going to run you around the $120 mark. However, use my code, that's going to drop it down to closer to $100. But at that price, guys, that is so reasonable, especially for a niche brand of quality like Superz. The concentration behind this one in all of Superz is, of course, an extrait de parfum, so you are getting the highest perfume oils used in all of their fragrances, which is great because I love extraits and prefer them over any other concentration. The perfumer behind 1723 is Gökhan Simsek, which I believe he's also made a few others for the brand as well. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to Superz without a doubt. With all the information out of the way, let's look at the packaging and presentation you're going to get with Superz 1723 now. So take a look at the box, which this one is going to be your basic kind of Superz box. Some of them do come in a limited edition, but most of them will be in this black one right here. Superz Budapest, Success, Love, and Adventure, which is a nice touch. This side says extrait de parfum, and you do have kind of an outline of probably the city of Budapest. I've never been there, but it does look beautiful. And then Superz on top with some information on the bottom. And these boxes are extremely sturdy and high quality. Let's look at the bottle now. All right, take a look at this bottle, which I love. Probably one of my favorite bottles from Superz as well. I love the silver and black color scheme they're going for. You also have a person on, looks like a kayak, probably on the water. I'm not sure what's going on. 1723 extrait de parfum at 50 ml. You do have Superz Budapest embossed into the glass bottle. Nothing on the back. Superz on top, and guys, this is a very heavy metal cap that is also a magnet cap, which is always a nice touch. And these bottles are so high quality, very, very heavy. For the notes, you have apple, lavender, pink pepper, patchouli, vanilla, gaiac wood, bergamot, violet, sandalwood, flower notes, amber, and musk. And this will be classified as a sweet fruity. So let's spray this and test out these atomizers. Oh, top tier atomizer, guys. That's so satisfying to spray. One of the best atomizers I've ever tried, as you just seen that for your guys' selves. So let's go ahead and remind myself of 1723, which I already smell like crazy in the air. So of course, looking at that note breakdown, it is very similar to Leighton with some few differences. However, in the opening of 1723, you're going to get a beautiful, fruity Granny Smith green apple immediately when you spray this one. It's so fruity, so enjoyable, and just captures that apple note absolutely flawlessly. It seriously smells like I have a basket of green apples right in front of me, guys, and I'm getting that aroma from them. Such a great opening from 1723, and like I said, it is in the same realm as Leighton, so you're still going to get that very familiar opening from 1723 that you also find in Leighton, which I do own right there behind me as well, which is probably one of my favorite parfums, the Marley, which surprises me so much how this one could possibly even be better. Alongside that photorealistic Granny Smith green apple, you are going to get some of this aromatic kind of creamy lavender note as well. The lavender is one of the most dominant notes in the entire composition, mixed together with the apple, of course. You also do have in the background a pinch of this spicy pink pepper just to make it a little bit more lively. So the opening is fruity, aromatic, and spicy, and man, it's fantastic. That opening is just so good, which is obviously the reason why this is in my top 5 favorite Superz of all time. And I know I put a lot of you guys onto this brand, and if you haven't tried 1723 yet, what are you guys doing? You have to check it out. As we start making our way into the mid, the opening isn't going anywhere, thankfully, because that opening is fantastic, but you are going to start getting some more florals thrown into the mix. The primary one I'm detecting is that violet, which you also find in Leighton. Just kind of a sweet floral, a little bit airy, fresh, maybe slightly powdery as well, but it doesn't go over the top, which is a great thing for me. I'm not a big fan of like overly powdery florals. Slightly powdery, but it's a more sweet and airy than anything. Making our way into the base of 1723 is probably one of the most important parts of the entire DNA, because you are going to start getting this very sweet, warm, slightly spicy vanilla, which makes a huge presence because this DNA does give off kind of like apple pie vibes without a doubt, and it's primarily from, of course, the apple and that vanilla and some of the other spices. You also have this kind of smoky, woody gaiac wood, which I think plays a great part in the apple pie vibe. It gives off this kind of toastiness, kind of like you're baking the apple pie in the oven. That's exactly how this dry down smells, guys, to me personally. I know some people don't think this DNA gives off apple pie vibes, but man, for me, it absolutely does, especially in 1723, maybe even more so. And then also, we can't forget about the patchouli, which is also one of the main notes in 1723. It is a little bit earthy, but not too earthy where it kind of disrupts the entire DNA and takes away from it. It's a little bit more green, fresh, slightly earthy patchouli, which is one of the main notes without a doubt in this DNA. But for me, guys, I'm a huge fan of patchouli, and the patchouli is a pleasant touch in the dry down. But it is crazy how long the opening of 1723 lasts, because even once you start getting into the base with the vanilla, the apple is still there, which gives it that apple pie vibe. But still, as the apple kind of disappears, guys, you are left with just a fantastic, warm, creamy, spicy base that is slightly smoky a little bit. You're not getting any of that Vicks vapor rub that you found in Leighton, which I know a lot of people despised and hated. So if that was you, you might enjoy this one much more than Leighton. It's even way more smooth, possibly more refined. I know Leighton did have a little bit of rough edges to it, which, believe me, hurts to say, because I've been a Leighton fanboy for probably like over 5 years now, I would say. A huge fan of Leighton. And I'm gonna be honest with you, ever since getting 1723, I haven't really reached for Leighton like at all. Anytime I want that DNA, I usually go for this. And there's another reason why that is a little bit later on in the review that you will find out. So for the best seasons to rock 1723, if you guys do get a bottle of this bad boy, it's primarily gonna suit the spring, fall, and winter. Not so much the summertime. It's a little bit too fruity, sweet, and spicy, where it could be a little bit off-putting in the high heat, but man, forget about it. The spring, fall, and winter, it's gonna shine perfectly. There's something about this DNA that's so warm, cozy. Of course, the apple pie vibes is what's giving off that vibe, but man, I love it, especially on a cold day. For occasion, I always thought about this DNA as more formal suited, because it gives off this kind of seductive sexiness about it as well. Very mysterious, it's unique. It doesn't really give me like casual vibes by any means, guys. And by the way, I've always wore like Leighton for like date nights. Date nights are perfect for this DNA, guys. When you're dressing up a little bit, you're going to a fancy dinner in the evening time, and you want to impress whoever you're going out with and make a first impression be great. This is a go-to fragrance. One of the sexiest fragrances from Superz, maybe a little bit behind Memories Gold, which I think is probably the sexiest, but still, it's gonna suit a nice kind of formal attire perfectly. Doesn't mean, of course, if you want to, you love the DNA, you can dress it down, obviously, but I just think it shines the best if you're dressing up a little bit. Obviously, you don't have to be dressed up too much, like in a suit or a tux, but just like a nice kind of maybe pea coat or like a dress shirt, etc. That's the best vibe for this. And it definitely suits more evening time rather than daytime. Oh my goodness, guys, I cannot get my nose off of this test strip. I'm not even lying. If I wasn't wearing something today, I would probably apply this. So for gender, this one definitely is on the masculine side of things. There's nothing really feminine about it, despite the florals you're gonna get. The florals do not go in a feminine direction at all. And for me, I never really pictured a girl rocking this scent profile, and that's just me personally. Of course, if you are a lady watching this, you love Leighton, you want to dive into Superz, this sounds good to you, check it out. Obviously you can't do that, but this is primarily for the boys out there. It does lean far on the masculine side. I know most Superz, I believe, are targeted as unisex. I think though 1723 is actually one of them that's targeted for the men. So yeah, definitely more masculine fragrance, which is great to kind of have like a sweet, fruity, gourmand style fragrance for the guys out there, because most of the time they do usually lean feminine. This one's not that. For age groups, I recommend on 1723. Thankfully though, when it comes to age groups, guys, this one is pretty versatile, which means I can picture all ages enjoying this particular fragrance. If you're somebody watching this right now and you're like in your late teens, and you kind of wanted Layton, and this is going to be a great option for you, because of course I wouldn't expect somebody in their late teens to have a bunch of money to spend like $200, $300 plus on a bottle of Layton, but you want that DNA. Check this out, and it's possibly even better. But of course, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and up, this is going to be great for you as well. Very, very versatile when it comes to age groups, because it both gives off youthful vibes and it also gives off mature vibes. And then finally, wrapping the review off, talking on the performance you're going to get from a 1723. Of course, this is an extrait de parfum, and I do obviously have high standards for extraits, guys. Thankfully though, this stuff right here is a powerhouse. It's going to last you upwards to that 12-hour mark on skin. If you spray your clothes, of course, it's going to last even longer. So definitely above average in the longevity department, guys. Superz make beast mode fragrances, and no doubt almost every single one of them I have tried, besides maybe some freshies, are just absolutely incredible when it comes to the performance. And this brand just basically knocks everything off of the check mark, to be honest, because above average longevity, 12 hours without any problems whatsoever. When it comes to the projection, guys, this does project pretty loud for the first couple hours or so, but then it does start to settle a little bit closer to the skin after maybe 3-4 hours. And of course, upwards to that 12-hour mark. However, guys, the first couple hours is so good with the projection. The sillage is so lovely in the air. But I don't know why gourmands tend to not project as much as I would like. So it is, I would categorize it at the end of the day as more moderate projection. It's not going to be like a beast kind of room-filling projector. But still, trust me, this is going to get you so much attention when you apply this fragrance, because most people around you are going to detect it, and I promise you they're going to ask you what you're wearing when you're rocking this. Especially the ladies out there absolutely fall in love with this DNA, which is why Layton has always been one of my go-to date nights, which this one kind of took over. So easily 12 hours of longevity with about moderate projection with 1723, which is very respectable. I think it lasts longer than the Layton from my experience, and I have a vintage, almost kind of vintage batch of Layton. I think my bottle is 5 to 6 years old. So that's gonna do it for my review of one of my favorite fragrances from Superz Budapest that I highly recommend you guys check out, especially if you're a lover of Layton, because believe me, you're gonna be impressed with this offering. Also, let me know down below if you guys have tried Superz Budapest from any of my recommendations. I'm very curious on what your favorites are from the brand, because they have so many fantastic offerings. Besides that, guys, as always, leave a like on the video, subscribe below if you haven't already, and of course, I'll see all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.